What it do, everybody? Welcome back to the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. Y'all, this is season 6, episode 4, the final 4. I am Nisaa Muhammad, but I'm going to go ahead and step to the side and introduce the woman, the visionary, the owner, the mind behind the Flora Pearl Foundation, Miss Latasha J. Humphrey.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you. I love the introduction and I so very much appreciate it. So glad to be here.
Yes, it's the final episode for the season. How are you feeling?
I feel good. 2023. Wow. Yeah, I feel real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Black women, we should be allowed to feel good. So I like that. Yeah.
What about you, ma'am?
I feel weightless, but weighted. And we talked prior too. So just a lot of healing going on around these folks' parts. That's y'all. It's a lot of healing going on. Not sure if y'all know, but it's heavy, but it's spring at the same time. So I am a feather hanging by the last little bone on the bird's wing, and pretty soon I will be able to float to my own willpower. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yes, ma'am. So why don't we hit the people with the disclaimer?
That's what I'm talking about. All right. See, okay. Here we go. The views and opinions expressed in We Are Flora Pearl podcast are those of the panelists and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Flora Pearl Foundation Incorporated or any of its affiliated entities.
Oh, I love that. And for those of you who may this may be your first episode, that just is a fancy way of saying if you got an issue with anything said, DM us. I will probably drop my address. All right? Okay. But don't be taking it out on Matt Humphrey or the Flora Pearl. So, New Year's is around the corner. And by around the corner, technically it's tomorrow, because why are we already in the 3rd day of this 12th month when we just said happy New Year? So I figured let's go ahead and have a conversation. Let's talk about manifestation. Let's talk about being manifested and connected, I guess we'll say. So let's start with a definition, right? Because some of us may not know really what it is. We hear it's a hot word right now. Everybody's saying it, it's in all the music. But what is it? Manifestation is defined as an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies, remember that word, something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. Okay. So check it out. Me being me, I said, I love that definition. And then I said, let me dig a little deeper, because what does embody mean? And embody means be an expression of or give a tangible or visible form to. Wait a minute. Then what does abstract mean? Abstract means existing in thought or as an idea, but not having a physical or concrete existence. But a manifestation, you all, is an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. Come on, word.
I mean, when you break them words down, it's something serious.
Ooh. So what we're getting at here, if I'm not tripping, if I know how words work and the meanings of words, it means that a manifestation is your thoughts brought to life.
That part, plain and simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
On a Sunday, come on with the word. Like I did, and I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole, but I looked up manifestation, and our good friend at Google, they had the word embodies underlined. And I said, well, click. And then I said, well, abstract, when I think abstract, I think art, and it's art that usually you have to define yourself, which again, a manifestation, you define it yourself. So y'all, hold on to that definition, okay? As we take this journey and you take this journey with us, Miss Humphrey. When I say manifestation, what do you think now?
But first of all that you did say, like I said, that's pretty loaded and I love it. But it is just that. It is, so your thoughts, right? What they do, they become life. You speak and you give life to it and you help to manifest it. So I think like that's what it is. Just like I said, kind of plain and simple in that way. It's a thought becoming life. It is a thought, but you breathe it into life when you speak.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I think that's so amazing, because my up, she used to always say, think 7 times before you speak, and you might just be right. That was the saying in our house. It's like when you really do process, take a moment to think about what it is you want to say, how you're feeling, how something made you feel, what it is you want, why you want it, what you'll do with it. You might just come up with the exact thing that you need. It starts with a thought. And even like I
everything
know,
you think about, everything here, it started with a thought.
yeah, like an idea.
Yeah.
It started with an abstract idea to make something tangible. I know the book says in the beginning it was the word, right? The word came from the thought.
That.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I want y'all to sit with that because I think that is something we don't really focus on when we hear the word manifestation anymore because it's so popular. And the kids, they call it delusion. But here's the thing about delusion. Is it delusion or is it a manifestation? Are you really mentally clearing the way for what it is that you want out of life, you desire, and the things that you're going to go after? Amazing. I think that's brilliant. It gives me a whole new way to look at manifesting things. And that's, I think, where I will say, y'all, if you've been with us for a while, then you know, Nisa's gonna say it. Nisa's gonna say it. She's gonna say it and it'll be said and she meant it and she'll hold it, you know, whatever, with her whole chest out. Miss Humphrey has a good way and she does a good job of making sure that when we say things, checking what we say and not in a way like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that, but she's very much a watch how you talk about yourself type of person. And I love that. I love that. That's amazing. To where if I'm like, oh, Nisa, that was dumb. Miss Humphrey's like, no, it was just maybe you did it a little differently this time. And it's like, no, that was clearly stupid. No, you were just thinking about it differently. It's like, you're right. I was.
No, and that's the thing. I am very particular about what you speak about yourself and what you're putting out there because I do know that it has an opportunity to form when you're putting it out there. If you're speaking life to whatever person, place, or thing, you have the opportunity to form.
Yeah.
And so definitely about yourself, why would you speak a certain way that you didn't want to see desire, even if you felt that way in the moment? I'm not saying you can't feel some type of way. I still think like even that thought before it really can manifest into something, you have to give life to it. And your word, your speaking, it's a life, it's breath.
It is. Ooh, I appreciate it so much because literally just the other day I got in the car. Y'all don't laugh. I hit my head getting in the car. It is what it is. Okay. It was a day. Leave me alone. Hit my head getting in the car. And I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? You so stupid. And immediately I was like, no. You're just a little distracted right now. But it's all right. We're going to ease it right on by.
Ease it right on by, right?
We're going to ease it right on by. You know? Thank you, Betty Ray. We're going to ease it right on by. I find myself doing that even where people will be around and I'm talking myself through things in a positive way. And it may seem a little abstract. It may seem a little weird. There's that word again, huh? It may seem a little weird, but it helps so much for me to regulate how it is that I'm talking to myself. And I love that so much. So thank you for that. It's so wonderful because if all day you hear things about yourself or, you know, there's these images being projected out, these passive aggressive whatevers towards you, somewhere you have to have a check-in with yourself. And why not it be you to say, oh, you're wonderful, you're brilliant, you're intelligent, you're creative, you're this and you're that. Why not? It has to be because if you don't, if no one else does, where are you going to get it from? You know, water your own plants.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's a beautiful thing and a way to say it. Like you planted the seed is planted, then you have to maintain it.
Absolutely. Tend to your garden.
To do that, hey, you know, and in order to do that, it has to be what are you doing with that? So what are you doing? What are you saying? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Those things, they go hand in hand and collectively they work together to create. And I feel like in that way, like you're creating even with your words. You are.
And you know what's interesting about manifestation, and as I've noticed, I'm gonna put this disclaimer out. I'm not knocking anybody rediscovering or discovering their spiritual base. Please, by all means, do that. But there seems to be an influx of popularity as far as spiritual practices go, to the point where it's beginning to be oversaturated with those who do not intend well, if you will. Like, you know, back in the day, there were those who did quote unquote witch doctors. They were witch doctors with good purpose and all that. And then eventually some other hands got into it. And now it's witches, burn them at the stake, blah, 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 right? There seems to be an influx in that. And now because there's an influx, everybody is like, oh, that's witchcraft and that's this and that's all that manifestation talk. You're supposed to just pray and trust in God. And I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is food for thought. Consider this, right? A manifestation ain't nothing but a prayer. Our grandparents, our ancestors, they called it a prayer because what are you doing if not thanking the creator for what you have, what you're going to get? And what are you doing if not saying, this is a heavy burden, please lift it? What are you doing if not saying, this is what I want to see? God, please help me with this. When you have an issue, the first thing the elders tell you is take it to God. Is that not a prayer? Is that not a manifestation?
Absolutely. And affirmation, you think about affirming as well, but definitely it is that. It's just that people are going to judge it how they want to judge it. If you're not doing what they think you should be doing or what they believe or practice, then something is wrong with it. And that's just people projecting what they feel or believe onto someone else. And that's not fair.
Absolutely. And now that's not to knock or discredit any of the practices of the Creole people and the Geechee people. None of, we see it, we respect it. In a real way, we see it, we respect it. But it is to say is that there's nothing wrong with learning another word for something or learning another purpose for something. And then tapping into that if you so desire, right? In the 1900s, as y'all say, we called it manifestation. In 2023, y'all call it Delulu till it's true. Whatever you call it, it's that idea that you see it, you desire it, and then you prepare yourself to get it, you know? And I think that's the beautiful thing right there.
Yeah. And it's just being able to overall respect one another, and whatever works for you, that's what works.
Absolutely.
And I can respect that. And then also, ask that you respect me as well. So
yeah, I like that. I touched on it a little bit, but let's really get to it. Manifestation, right? Prayer, delulu, whatever you want to call it. It's not just about wanting the thing to happen, right? You can't just be like, well, this is what I want. And the reason I say that is because on TikTok now, everybody's like, oh, this sound is the blessing sound. And that's not to discredit frequencies and all that. But the kids are like, yeah, this is the sound. And if you don't do it, everything bad is going to happen. It's not like that. That's not how it works, y'all. So what does that look like, Ms. Humphrey? If manifesting is just my prayer or my asking, then how do I get what I'm asking for if it's not just the ask and get?
Faith is an action. And I previously I did have a spiritual teacher to speak about this, how hope is for tomorrow. Faith is now. And it is you putting into action, though. You can desire something and you can put into action. Well, you can speak it, right? So you can do the affirmations, we can do the manifestations, you can do the prayer. However, there's also action that comes with it, because the scripture, it does say faith without works is dead. So it's you putting forth an effort in order to make it happen. It's not you're thinking it and then it just happens. You also have to put forth the steps. For example, you're applying for a job, a position. That means you put in the applications in order to even qualify or even have the qualifications to be called in for an interview, in order for that to be even an opportunity or a possibility, right? But it didn't happen because you thought it like, oh, I want to work here, and you didn't put in an application. Like, that doesn't work. Your day-to-day with what you do at work, you can desire for something to happen. Y'all get together and do a team meeting, a plan, and it's like, who's gonna do what? Like, who's responsible for X, Y, and Z in order for all of this to come together to collectively make sure that it manifests, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it goes. But you wishing and hoping and that it's gonna happen, that may not be a thing.
Yeah. It reminds me of this thing. It was a while back, y'all. Like back in high school when Facebook was just it was so popular. And there was this person I followed, and I'm not laughing at the passing of the person. Let me just say that. So what happened was this grandmother, her grandson had been paying her bills. When I say grandma lived a good life, as far as the bills, she didn't even know that bills were due, right? The grandson, unfortunately, he had an untimely passing, and everything a month later got turned off. Power, everything. Grandma was in a frenzy, and she's like, what is this? Yada, yada, yada. It came out later on, some days later, basically. It was like, he's been paying your bills since he graduated college. You didn't know that? And she's like, no. And, she hasn't worked. She hasn't. And so everybody's like, Grandma, who did you think? Like, what did you think? And she said, I thought it was God.
Wow. Really?
Right?
So what was grandma doing before?
Because I guess grandma raised the baby or whatever the case may be. And so when he graduated college, he took it upon himself to take care of grandma. But grandma apparently, and this is how some of our elders, they do have this mindset, which it's not a bad thing. It is just the mindset of the time. They have the mindset of like, oh, we've done the work. So in my old age, it is kind of, where that the religion is very key in their upbringing. And so certain things do tend to get overlooked. Grandma was resounding. She's like, I thought God was, all the times I've gone to church and I just thought God was cashing in basically. Like she was, yeah. And everybody was like, no,
Okay,
Grandma.
so I'm not saying that can't be so, but I'm saying even prior to that, as he was you were raising him, how was that getting paid? Because he wasn't working then, or was he?
Grandma was. That's the thing. So grandma was working, but when she retired and he was old enough too after
He
he graduated,
retired.
yeah,
Okay.
grandma thought she had cashed in her chips with God. She thought God was like, you've done all the good and the Hail Marys, you've gone to church and all that fun stuff. You be at communion, you don't listen to the secular music, first lady, big hat, all grandma thought she was like, yes, this is my tithe and offering coming back to see me. And the family was so shocked, but it brought forth a really interesting perspective for me is that a lot of people think it is a magical, mystical thing. That is not the case in that essence, if that makes sense,
Absolutely
right?
not.
It's almost like Oz. There's always somebody working behind the scene here. Yes, God, absolutely. But who is he working through, if that makes sense? Grandma was missing that part.
Especially in this realm that we're in. We're in a physical realm. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
something. Like it has to be something within the physical realm to help manifest what is put out there. You know what I
That
mean? So I mean, with the I hear it. I guess I would have to see the situation a little bit different, but I can't believe I get it, but something left out of that story. But I'm gonna let it rock.
Listen, when I saw it, I remember it because it was such a big. When I say me, and I think it was my brother and one of my cousins, we were tickled, and we went to my grandmother's house. It might have been around the holiday times, which is probably really funny that it's come back around now. But we did. We went to my grandmother's house, and we was like, look at this, and we told it, and we all had a good little laugh about it, and this and third. And my grandmother goes, I mean, shoot, I wouldn't ask no questions either. And I was just like, I'm not saying ask questions, but be a little tapped into the realities of life. You know what I mean? This is not a film or anything like that. We're dealing, like you said, on a realistic realm where things, they are tangible and in that way. So just pay attention. But I thought that was very funny how that worked.
I know it is.
Granny was there. She was like, oh, yeah, Jesus paid. Like she meant it.
It's
Jesus
like,
paid
come
it.
on. Okay, grandma. Like, I'm going to let you have all of that. I'm going to let you have it, but come on now. Come on,
Yeah. And
grandma.
maybe my thinking of it, right? That whole idea of, and this is no disrespect to Granny, my perspective of it is if you think like, oh, just wanting something is going to make it happen, I feel like that is a trick that was given to us during the times when we were shackled and enslaved to encourage laziness and dependency. That's just me. Like, oh, I'm just waiting for that blessing. You can wait, but what are you doing while you're in the waiting room? It's like when you're on a call and the operator's like, let me put you on a brief hold. You don't just sit and wait. You put that phone on speaker and you go about the things that you need to do. It has to be that. Sit down with God. Hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I desire. Okay, amen. Now put in some work.
Right. Well, that goes back to the faith without works.
Yeah.
It has to be something. I think a part of that was taught, but not all of it. Like you can have faith and you can have faith on it. I get it. But I'm saying, what do you have to do in order for that to happen? Like, what are you doing? That's why I was saying earlier, like you can think a thought, you then speak it out of your mouth, but there's action put towards it,
That part. And I think it's also about being, you have to be two other things. You have to be specific because if you're not, you can't complain. You can't say, oh, I
about
want
what
shoes
comes.
and get
Exactly.
mad when it's a Skechers and you don't like Skechers. You got to be specific. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. And then you also have to be prepared for the possibility that right now it's either not what you need, or you don't know how to handle it. And so it may not come when you want it. I think those are the things when we talk manifestation and prayer and desires, we have to be sure because there are things even I look at now that are just now manifested that I've been asking for since since I realized that bills come every month. I was like, well, hey guys, how's it going? Are you there? It's me, Margaret, but it's coming around now. And it's like, okay, well, why did it take so long? But it's like, well, Nisaa, were you prepared for it? And would you have appreciated it in that time?
Yeah.
Or what was being blocked from you then? I urge you all, when you're thinking of your prayers, your manifestations, the things that you really desire out of life, look at your reasoning behind them. Look at whether or not you're being specific in what you want and really make sure that you're prepared to wait that thing out if you got to.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
That's it. And you got to believe it. You got to believe that it's possible for you, I feel.
Absolutely. That's where that delusion Delulu come in.
Well,
And I think we do a good job of that in our circle. And something we're very, I'm not going to say delusional, but we very much believe in I profess. The way I speak about myself, you would think that I might be the most egotistical maniac out there. But really, it sounds that way, right? To those who aren't aware. But the reality of it is that I deserve all the good things. And I truly believe that.
I do.
Like, babe, my nickname has been Princess all my life. Who's not getting treated well over here? In all aspects.
Just saying.
And I act like that. I walk in that every single day. And on the days that I don't, I got people like Miss Humphrey and my sister D to be like, ma'am, where's Nisaa? She needs to check in because I don't know this person. And that's a beautiful thing, you know? So
yeah.
I love a little Delulu. I'm cool with it, you know?
Hey, I'm just saying, if you don't believe it, who you gonna convince to believe it? That's
you
all
know?
I'm saying. Yeah.
But fool me in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe I'm tall to the point where sometimes people come around. No, you're laughing. I'm so for real. Y'all, I'm probably 5'3" on a good day, right? And that's a good day. Which ain't good these days because I really can't wear heels like I used to. But I believe I'm tall. I'm always like, yeah, girl, you know, I'm up there. I'm da 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 da. I was out with some friends a couple weeks back, and little cute little shorty, she looked at me. She goes, "Oh, I'm finally taller than somebody." Y'all, wait a minute. What do you mean?
Oh, okay now. Like, wait a minute now.
I was shook. I was looking around like, who are you talking about?
Right.
Because in my mind, Nisaa is skyscraper height. You feel me? Like, I'm a tall person. I don't care. You know?
Modeling.
Yeah, that's a part of it. Be delusional.
I love it.
I think it's important. So I encourage you all not to be delulu, if that's the word y'all using, fine. Be delulu. But really, like, pay attention to what it is you're manifesting and make sure you want it because you want it, not because you think you're supposed to have it or because somebody tells you that they want you to have it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You need to want it for yourself. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's your desires, you know, the desires of your heart, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Matters of the heart. Sorry, what?
You brought back something. Okay.
Okay, so let's get into this. We're gonna manifest that joint, y'all. Since we're manifesting, we might as well let's manifest that joint and get us up out of here because I think this will be a great way to close out the season. So take a second here, right? And we'll do like a little 30 seconds. Take 30 seconds to think about one specific thing that you want to improve upon in the new year and beyond. And then once you think about it, I want you to think of an affirmation for that manifestation. Okay, audience, feel free. This is important that you all engage in this as well. Okay, you ready? What is that affirmation sound like to you?
We're saying right now?
If you want to, you don't have to. I'll share mine because it is, I think I see it coming and I'm appreciative of it. I am connected to those who mean well for me because I mean well for them and for myself. And in this connection, I am able to create, to grow, and to thrive. And I allow those all around me to do the same. That's the affirmation, right? For the manifestation that we're looking for. All right. Now here's the challenge part. You ready? Y'all didn't think y'all was gonna leave with homework. Gotcha. The manifestation, whether you say it out loud or not, that is the message you say to yourself at least once a day in the mirror, starting today. And then at least at the end of a month, every quarter, however you separate time, journal about the changes that you've noticed. Think about it. Try it out. And see really, really how that works for you. You know, they say write it down, make it plain, you know, like do that. And you do that because you have something to go back and reflect on those days where you're like, dang, this didn't work out at all. But in fact, it did. Just years down the line when you were prepared for it. So, I know, right? That is a heck of a way to close out this season. But since we're going into 2024, you know, everybody's like, New Year's resolution. Nah, baby, we're going to continue to manifest New Year and beyond. And we're going to continue to be intentional with that manifestation. Why? Because it ain't nothing but a prayer, baby. All right?
So I love that. Oh, now see, you're going to have me share.
Only if you want to.
Only if I want to.
Yeah.
Okay, I got something. Look, okay. This is one of mine. Okay. I set the intent that divine God's wealth is circulating in my life. Divine God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence, where I am one with divine God, and the divine God is everything.
Ooh, I say. And on them days when I can't bear and them bills is beating me down, we gonna play this part back, okay? Please understand. We gonna play this part back. Okay. So yeah, because that I like that. Oh, I like that. That's beautiful. And people, you see, you can ask for what you want. You can ask for what you're not here to just work, pay bills, and die. You're allowed to ask for and go after the things that you want as long as you're not causing harm to others. I love that. Yeah, Miss Humphrey, that was the perfect way to wrap this up. You think I'm playing this is gonna be on repeat. When I don't know what else to do, I'm be like, okay, just go to play episode 4. Just run it back.
Yeah.
So, Miss Humphrey, do you have anything for the people before we wrap this thing up?
I know my tag, it definitely is keep shining. However, I just would like to personally thank everyone for being with us this year, this 2023. I think about starting in 2017, and I looked back, I think it's like 44, 45 episodes in that particular year. And so 6 years later, we're here, and we vamped some things, and just did some different tweaking and all that good stuff. And just the fact that this is an opportunity or a way to just continue with the Flora Pearl Foundation legacy. Once again, I'm so very grateful just for my grandmother and all that she did physically while she was here. And since that time, have just continued to move forward and be, I feel like a guide to me, because I still feel her presence all the time. And I'm just so very grateful for this opportunity. So I thank you, Nisaa, as well, for you being a producer, as well as Zahreia. For those who don't know, my daughter, her and Nisaa work together to be able to produce, and then Zahreia with her doing her editing and just using that talent and gift for the foundation. I'm very grateful for that and doing that for the podcast. And so just the seat that I sit in, I'm grateful to be surrounded by beautiful souls. And so I just thank each of you. Like I said, I thank the audience for listening, and I thank those who are supporting behind the scenes, sponsors, and just spiritually, just being positive. I'm very grateful just for everyone. And so thank you all once again, and keep shining. Look.
What else is there to be said? It's not a wrap, but for now, it is a semicolon. Yes, it's a see you later. It's a semicolon. It is a pause. And we will see you all next season on the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. Peace.
All right.